I need my glasses. Ready? Hello and welcome to episode 3 of The Tall Grass.
Which is a podcast. He did the grass.
He made the S's.
The Tall Grass. This is a podcast.
Thank you, Jesse. It's been a big week since the last time we saw you, episode 2, I believe we call it. To prepare for this episode, I did absolutely nothing. Your thoughts?
I appreciate your dedication to this project, which is known as The Tall Grass, which is a podcast. We've been through this already in this episode, right?
We have been.
Are you guys aware that this is called The Tall Grass and that it is a podcast?
Oh, hold on, I think I need to do some introductions. I have copious notes. We have to introduce ourselves first because we have to pretend that this might be the first time.
This is the first time that you have seen either of us on the internet. Then what you should know is that his name is Joe Seppi and he hasn't worked out in a calendar week. You won't be able to tell that by watching this video because he's still incredibly ripped and sexy.
Thank you. This is my friend. His name is Jesse Barrymore. He claims to not be a robot. We went over that in episode 2. If you'd like to revisit that, you can. He is a soy boy. He has long hair. Dave Cressy thinks his pants are gay. He enjoys rattlesnakes. If you misgender or misidentify a rattlesnake in either hemisphere, he will destroy you with facts and logic.
I have never heard a more accurate description of myself.
Thank you. I think we should just get into it. It's been a wild week in the Seppi household. I accidentally may have started a firestorm amongst my siblings when I sent a screenshot that may be inaccurate about my mother's house being like foreclosed on.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw it on Zillow. Well, I get all these calls. I'm sure everybody does. Everybody calls me and they're like, Donnie, your house is for sale. We want it. And I'm like, I'm not Donnie. And you can have it. I don't live there anymore. But the calls really ramped up and I got scared. So, well, one of the callers, which I decided to answer, was American.
Oh.
Lots of red flags there.
That's like, oh, they mean business.
Exactly.
They actually have access to like shady financial institutions. Imperial threats.
Who's the big bank guy that we don't like?
I think that all of them.
We don't like any of the big
Norman
bank
Rockefeller, that fucking guy from Monopoly, can't stand his ass and monocle and shit.
The mustache, though.
Yeah, ooh, boardwalk, get wrecked. Just some cedar slabs on their way out to the ocean. America's cooked. Thank you, continue.
Donnie got wind of this after I sent the screenshot to every one of my siblings that I care about, which was 2 of them. She said, you really have your brothers and sisters in an uproar. My house is fine. I paid it off in July. And I said, it's not my fault you had so many kids.
We can review the tapes. It is literally not your fault.
Literally.
And we have discussed a little bit on this podcast Donnie's propensity to become impregnated.
I don't know if that was too much sharing, but nobody watches this anyway. How was your week?
The Barrymore household is not doing well. And nobody watches this, as Joe has already mentioned, so I feel like this is a safe place to... I'm just going to be 100% real with you guys. My wife, whom I have stated previously that I love, and my 3 children, who are domestic terrorists, but generally I am fond of them. Those 4 people abandoned me. They left. They left on Friday, November 7th. And I did not see them again until November the 11th.
November the 11th. I know what that day is. That is Veterans Day / Caesarean Remembrance Day.
That is the day that you remember. You remember being sad in the sand.
And you remember being extricated from the womb.
I remember taking a detour away from my mother's birthing canal and exiting straight to the light.
Right through the sunroof.
The old sunroof there. In this podcast, we respect the autonomy of women, but we do make jokes about cesarean sections.
Was this a joke? Were you not born cesarean?
It wasn't a joke. This is not a drill. On November the 11th is a day that I normally spend some time thinking and contemplating about how I was born cesarean. But much like your experience on Veterans Day, it's usually where I take some time to contemplate things that are far removed from this point in time. However, since my family abandoned me on November the 7th, on November the 11th, I was sad on the sofa. Much how you were once sad in the sand. I was engaged by the enemy on my sofa, and the enemy was called abandonment. Mm-hmm. To make matters worse, the domestic terrorists that I live with had released some sort of biological warfare against me, which caused me to become ill. So not only was I sad on the sofa, wallowing in abandonment, I couldn't even talk about it because I had lost my voice. I had lost my family. I had lost my voice.
Can you rank those losses in terms of which one was more egregious?
My voice, definitely.
If you were on an island all by yourself, and the good Lord said you can have one thing, either this or that, and this was your voice and that was your family,
I would take my family. However, I would take my family, but their experience being a member of my family would be significantly better because I did not have a voice. Like, my voice has caused 93.7% of all conflict in my household.
And that's just stats and data you can't argue with.
You can't argue with facts and logic. It would be better for them, but it would be much worse than me because nobody else in my family, my wife, whom I previously have mentioned that I love, my children who are terrorists, but I am fond of, they have many redeeming attributes, none of which include eloquence. My 4-year-old can barely talk. She's not good at it.
Neither were you this last week.
My 32-year-old wife, whom I love, and I've been clear on that.
Crystal.
Not a good communicator.
On account of the red hair?
On account of she doesn't have much time to dive into the intricacies of a matter. She's too busy getting stuff done. She says things like, can we not talk right now and just do things? Like, for instance, she didn't do a lot of communication before she abandoned me on November the 7th. Okay, this is a long-winded story. On November the 7th, there was a plan in action. My children were supposed to go on a trip with their grandparents to what they claim to be the happiest place on earth. They claim that Disneyland in Anaheim, California, the happiest place on earth. I take offense to that. But that was the plan.
They've never been to Menards in Holiday City, Ohio.
They've never been to Bricks in Motley, Minnesota. They've never walked from Bricks in Motley, Minnesota down to Bremer's Booze Bank and then listened to some local man laud the composition and genius of a song called Try That in a Small Town by Jason Aldean, and then proceed to put it on the jukebox while another local alcoholic offers to buy a round for everyone inside of Bremer's Booze Bank, 1 round of a pickled egg out of a jar that has been on the bar for who knows how many months. If that doesn't bring you happiness, you've never been happy. You don't go through the effort of pickling a food item if you don't intend to abandon that item at room temperature for extended periods of time. That's the whole point of pickling.
So the theme of this podcast is abandonment.
Abandonment. Which Bremer's Booze Bank, they would never abandon you.
Is that the same place they made you try the frog legs?
Nope, that was in Pennsylvania.
The Keystone State.
The Keystone. Well, anyways, what I was getting at is I was supposed to load up these 3 children. I was supposed to take them to the airport where they were going to meet their grandfather. And
For the first time?
No, not for the first time. But he was going to escort them onto another airplane and they were going to fly to the happiest place on earth, Disneyland. But then, the morning of, as we're getting ready to go to the airport to drop off the children, my in-laws call frantically and they say, our flight to Spokane has been canceled, so we can't pick them up. So what we're gonna need from you guys is one of you is going to have to fly down here with them. So my wife said, I know that it's your birthday and we have all these fun plans for celebrating you, the man of our home, but fuck that, we're going to Disneyland. So I took them to the airport, dropped them off, came home, lost my voice.
Lost your family, then you lost your voice.
I lost my family, I lost my voice, I lost out on some event that she had secretly planned that she said I was gonna love.
Am I allowed to tell you? Because I was invited to that secret plan.
Were you?
Yeah. But she's a redhead and I'm sworn to secrecy.
She said she wants to try again.
Oh, okay.
So you can tell me if what she had planned.
Sidebar?
Yeah.
Should I tell you? Or
No, don't tell me.
Don't tell you. It'll
No.
ruin everything.
No, it'll ruin everything. There's no way I'll be able to keep the secret that you broke the secret that she was supposed to keep.
She already abandoned you, so what's going to keep her from abandoning you the second time?
I see your point. You would never abandon me.
I've never once abandoned. Well,
Except in Bozeman, Montana. Anyways, what I'm getting at is my wife went to Disneyland and then I came home. And then on Sunday, I went to work, but I was sick and I couldn't talk. Something strange happened to me on Sunday.
chronologically there.
Chronologically.
On Saturday night, whilst I was enjoying the golf simulator, as I am now a YouTube golfer, because I posted a couple clips of me on the YouTube.
Yeah.
You texted me at a very late hour of 10:30 with the words, "Whom is on call management-wise?" And as somebody on the extra board that might be the one to receive the emergency SOS at Saturday night at midnight for a shift that begins in approximately 4 hours from that point, I was very nervous about your next words when you said, I do not feel well, I might have to call out. And the emotions I had at that time were like a little bit of empathy, a lot of bit of rage, and even more of I wanted to beat your ass for not calling out way earlier in the day.
Right.
However, you did sack up like a real soy boy, and you did go to work that morning. Which I appreciated because I was only midway through my first round of that night of golfing.
Yes.
Which was the most important thing. Your voice comes and goes. That golf simulator
Is the true constant.
and it also stays right where it's at. I can go 24/7. Like I didn't pay for the hour. It's a monthly fee. I'm a
Okay.
member.
Dude.
Basically, I'm better than you, is what I'm getting at.
And
I don't even think you should be able to sit at the same table as me.
I tend to agree with you on that, although I have been talking with some of my people and I do think that my friendship
Wait, okay, hold on. I think I just caught you in a lie.
What?
You lost your voice, but then you're talking with your people.
Yeah.
American
very
Sign
recently.
Language, or-
I'm talking now. I got my voice back. And one of the first things I did when I regained my voice was talked to some of my people about structuring my friendship as a monthly subscription.
Oh, that's... Can we pause this real
Yeah.
quick? Hey, Dylan, we are conducting important podcast business. Can you yell at the robot people like a little quieter? Yeah. Thanks. Robots, it's an epidemic.
Bleep, blop, bloop. I'm not a robot. Robots would never get sick. And chronologically, Saturday night, I fell ill. And actually, it happened on Saturday. Because on Saturday, I do the milk run.
Like
And
my dad.
Yes, but I always come back.
Sidebar, we got to cut that part out. I think he watches this.
Does Raj watch this?
Raj and Donnie.
Should we get... Do you think that Donnie heard my distasteful jokes about her uterus?
After Donnie told me that I sent the fire alarm with the siblings about the house possibly being foreclosed and sold and she was going to be homeless or whatever.
Yeah.
She then said, when are you going to be uploading another podcast? I really like that. And I was just thinking back to all the F words we use.
We did.
And some of the blasphemy.
I did talk about your conception. Donnie.
The milk run.
Roger. I hope that the pine cones and the blueberries are faring well. Chronologically, on Saturday, I have a run. I have to drive to the west side.
They don't know what the west side is. If they live
I drive from Spokane, Washington.
which is over here.
which is what is called the East Side. And then I drive over to a Bellevue,
Well,
Washington.
first you stop here in Moses Lake to get a glizzy.
I did not stop on the way.
Oh, okay.
I'm mission focused.
Wow, okay.
I drove all the way to Bellevue, Washington. And when I was on my way to Bellevue, I got on a conference call, long haul trucker style, with some of our previous cohorts.
Ooh.
Shout out to Jimmy, Anthony, Ray.
Piece of
Zach.
garbage flatbedders?
Piece of garbage flatbedders. And they tried to bait me into an argument.
About milk?
They tried to bait me into an argument for like the 9th week in a row about Reuben sandwiches. And I don't want to get into it here because I get enraged, but I have strong opinions about Reuben sandwiches.
Is that where your voice went, to the Reuben sandwich discussion?
I was able to eloquently make my compelling case on this phone call, and I was quite impassioned. I was like William Jennings Bryan.
That's the one on marbled cinnamon bread or something?
Shut the fuck up. Marbled cinnamon bread.
I don't... Is it swirly bread?
It's rye. It's rye bread.
There's only ryegrass.
And corned beef. I swear to you, do not bait me into a conversation about Reuben sandwiches.
Rank the grass, tall and rye.
Hell yeah. I did the grass.
No, you got to rank them.
I gotta rank them.
Which one's better, tall or rye?
Ryegrass?
Ryegrass, tall grass.
The best tall grass that I've ever used personally is corn, which is technically a grass.
Editor, please note that I cannot get this guy to stay on task. I just wanted him to simply rank the grass. It was a good little bit. He was going to say number 1 is obviously the tall grass because that is our podcast, and number 2 is ryegrass because it's not even real. Go ahead.
Editor, please do whatever he just told you to do, but do it less passive aggressively. Thank you. I had this impassioned phone call with 3 or 4 certified mentally delayed flatbedders.
That was redundant.
It was. The problem is that I hung up the phone about the time that I got to North Bend.
Oh, that's about right here. Okay.
Yep. And then I pulled into the Bellevue plant.
Right about here?
Yep. And I went to talk to the milk person. And I opened my mouth and a no sound came out.
Which had to be a shock to your system.
It was alarming. I made it back to Spokane. I did it all the way back because I'm a trooper.
Like a state trooper?
No, just a milk trooper. Just like a lactose trooper.
Because we're sponsored by Antifa.
Did that finally come through? I've been emailing
The
them.
brick through the window? Or?
I've been emailing them back. For being anti-fascist, they sure have some very strong concerns about the cost of advertisement on this podcast.
And stronger arms. Have you seen what they can do to a target?
Have you seen what they can do with a baklava? Oh, that's a balaclava. Conclusion, I got very ill. Then on Sunday, I waited too long to call in sick because I don't call in sick. I'm an American laborer. So I showed up to work. Guys, this story is way too long. Editor, I don't know how we're even going to clip this to where I can do like ticky-tock clips or whatever. Here's the deal, fellas, gals, and theys. On Sunday, I showed up to work as is expected. And one of the first things I have to do is go out to that fucked up security shack and talk to some lady. And I went out there, I went in the shack, and she said a bunch of, this trailer's here, and this is your job, and etc. And then I said, and she was like, what's wrong with you? And I said, I lost my voice, I can't talk. And she said, because you talked too much or because you are sick? And it took me a second because I felt called out.
That's a good
like,
question, actually, on her part.
I was like, I have been accused of talking too much, mostly by anybody who's ever heard me talk. But I also am ill. And I said, I'm sick. And she says, then get out of here. And then she did like the me in 2021 thing. She was just Lysol.
Oh.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
Disinfectant. And then I talked to another fella that I'm supposed to like take directions from because I have a stupid job.
That we love and appreciate.
And
we don't have to say that anymore because we're in the union.
we're in the union.
Oh, yeah.
This is a podcast.
Reminds me to please like and subscribe and ring the bell.
I'm going off on another tangent. I was going somewhere, I promise, but I do want to bring up something. Somebody, I believe it was on the TikTok platform, I think it was Janice, and Janice has been following me for a long time.
From China.
She might be a communist bot.
Oh, I wonder if you guys are related because you are also allegedly a bot.
And a communist, allegedly.
Yeah, and a soy boy.
Anyways, Janice made a comment. She said, I don't appreciate your sexual innuendos. Because sometimes I try to get you guys to do dirty things to the subscribe button. Mm-hmm. So I'm telling you right now, Joe's going to remind you to subscribe, but notice how he didn't make it sexual.
I don't know how to do that.
I'm also not going to make it sexual because Janice does not care for that. But right now, I'll tell you, at the end of this episode, I will be reminding you to hit the subscribe button, and I might use some sort of metaphor to do that, but it will be very platonic. Thank you. Anyways.
However, if you do happen to take a Viagra right before the end of the show, that's not our problem.
Who am I to, if you chew on a blue or 3, if you find yourself getting tangled up in a gas station 75-cent packet of horny goat weed, and the first thing that you cross is the Tallgrass the Tallgrass podcast at youtube.com, which is a podcast, and that weed begins to do little circles around whatever parts of your body cause you to want to do things.
Mm-hmm. The penis.
I think, and I'm not discriminating, maybe you're the kind of fella, gal, or they that doesn't have one of those but still wants to penetrate a subscribe button. That's not for me to judge, but if it happens, I would prefer that it did happen on the Tallgrass podcast at youtube.com because we need subscribers.
You want them to peg the subscribe button?
Oh, Tia, are you a subscriber? In conclusion, some of you may be offended by engaging in sexual activities with the subscribe button. I do not endorse you to do those activities, but if you want to do them, I also want you to, because we only have like 500 subscribers, and I feel like you guys can do a lot better than that. Is that a very diplomatic way of getting around the issue of sexual intercourse with the subscribe button?
I already forgot what I was going to say. I was trying to do 2 things at once, and now it's gone.
Back to my main story about work. I talked to this guy who gives me tasks to do for my job. I was trying to talk to him. I couldn't. I had no voice. And he said, I don't really know what the point of you being here is, on account of you can't even talk on the radio. So I essentially was peer pressured into going home and taking sick leave, which is the only time in my life that I can remember having some sort of penalty for not being able to talk. Unprecedented. On November the 11th, which was a Tuesday, my family returned to me from not the happiest place on earth.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Do you have any trauma from the cesarean? Do you remember any of that?
I don't remember any of it. I have no recollection of it. The first memory I have post-cesarean, I think, was falling through a French glass door.
Did you guys like the thumbnail he did last week? That was pretty wild.
Guys, listen here. Someone send the thumbnail I made for the Tallgrass podcast episode 2 and send it to Mr. Beast and tell him to fuck right off, dude. There's a new sheriff in town. And I tell you one thing about a thumbnail. I can finger fiddle a thumbnail together even if I have no voice.
Or thumbs.
Or if I've been abandoned and am sat on the sofa.
What did you do for your birthday?
I was sat on the sofa. I want to tell you about, can we do more confessions? Do you want to hear something that I did that was bad?
Do we need a lawyer?
No.
Okay.
I was finger fiddling the TikTok app while I was being sat on the sofa. And I found a video. Last week there was some accusations thrown around about me being feminine, which are completely not true. And that has nothing to do with what I'm about to tell you. But I was sat on the sofa looking at TikTok, and I found a video of some gal that was doing consultations with some other gals about what to do with their hair and what products would work best to get them the highlights they wanted.
Like on SportsCenter?
No, it was on TikTok. And it was, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I think I watched like 3 of those videos. They were like 3 minutes a piece.
To get highlights in your hair?
There's just some lady telling women how to take care of their hair. It was engaging content.
You're never going to beat the allegation.
And I threw them a heart. I threw that video a heart. I was like, this is a video I like.
Did you favorite it?
I don't think I favorited it, so there might be hope for me yet. But I did heart it. And then when I did that, I realized that I was on the official Tallgrass podcast TikTok account. So if you ever log on there, I'm just telling you right now, our algorithm is trash because I watched 3 consecutive videos about the best products to use if you're planning on becoming more platinum blonde.
Any soy content?
Tons of soy. Soybean farmers, tofu ticklers.
Speaking of the TikTok, I noticed a comment that was like, as long as you guys stay away from politics, you'll be fine. Which means I just want to talk about politics for
This is not a political podcast.
But I did my hair. So probably should be a political podcast now.
Should be.
Your thoughts on the government?
I think that the government...
Hold on. That mic only has a 10-hour battery life.
Okay. I think the government is doing the best job that they can with the information they have available.
What?
I think that the government is a necessary institution to guide the sheeple into the path of least righteousness.
Taxation is?
Necessary to fund public programs and also to bail out foreign countries when they encounter the consequences of our imperial domain over the last couple of centuries.
Our president just told Laura Ingraham there are no qualified workers in America. That's why we need immigrants.
Our president is duly elected and clearly the best person for the job.
Bernie Sanders
is too old and his opinion is irrelevant. Socialism only works if you're closer to the equator than Vermont. Get wrecked.
The New York City mayor.
The New York City mayor, current mayor, Eric Adams, is an upstanding member of society and should have been elected again, but politics is a dirty business, and the best that they could come up with is a guy that likes to dance around in an apron in halal carts. And I have good information that Curtis Sliwa actually won that election, but they stole the votes.
What do we do about it?
What we're going to do about it is write a strongly worded letter to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
I can't write strongly worded letters anymore. I stopped working out.
I don't write strongly worded letters to begin with. I write soy boy letters. All of my F's and T's and L's and P's and whatnot, very limp wristed. That little trail that you do on a cue, mine's very thin and a weird bend at the end. People look at that and they say, this is not a strongly worded letter.
Usually you got a weird bend at the end. You probably should see a doctor.
They're like, this is one of these tofu texts from the soy person.
The old crooked cock there. Editor, make sure Donnie is distracted when the crooked cock joke comes out.
I don't know what that... Oh, can I talk about plasma?
What's that got to do with politics?
Well, this is not a political podcast, but I had something happen to me when I was trying to sell my body parts for money under capitalism last week, and I did not care for it. I was sitting in line, which is what you do if you're a good member of a capitalistic society, is you wait in a line to sell parts of yourself for money.
Dude, I cannot wait until we're in a country where we have to wait in a line to get bread.
This is not a political podcast. But while I was waiting in the line, another person came in, attempting to wait in the same line. And they were wearing a shirt it was a t-shirt, a short-sleeved t-shirt. It was bright orange, high visibility, black lettering on it. And I'm telling you, this is a free speech podcast. So I'm gonna tell you what it said. It said, and then there was a heart shape, like the heart. It said, I heart sucking dick with my butt cheeks. That was the reaction that most good Americans were giving it, because that is objectively hilarious. But then some nurse in the plasma pricking room or whatever they call it, she looked at that shirt, she read it, she read the words, "I love sucking dick with my butt cheeks," and she gasped, audibly gasped.
Did she overdo it though? As to create a scene?
She did it to where I could notice, just patiently waiting in line. They made this man wearing a shirt go outside to his car and cover it up with a sweatshirt. And then he had to spend the rest of the time in the donation center wearing a sweatshirt as like a weird tube top thing so that it covered up the words and sucking and butt cheeks. And I said, this pisses me off.
This is Joe Biden's America.
This is Joe Biden's America. Before Joe Biden came in and ruined everything, a fella could just brag about the suction capabilities of his butt cheeks anywhere he wanted. Now, you go to sell body parts for money, and some people are going to try to censor you. They don't want you to wear a shirt that says, "I love sucking dick." So I took my children and I said, I want you to read that shirt right now. This is not a political podcast, but I laughed my off, literally.
So you had no voice and no
I was voiceless and dickless. But when I read the words, "I love sucking dick with my butt cheeks," I laughed. Why? Because I am a patriot. This is not a political podcast, but if you were in and around the area of Hayden, Idaho with an orange shirt that says, "I love sucking dick with my butt cheeks," I would like you to be the first interview on this non-political podcast. Thank you.
Jenny, if you're watching this, please take Mother's subscribe button, preferably with your index and your forefingers, and I want you to smash it with a hammer until the phone shatters. Are these any good?
Be determined. Also, Jenny, your sister, whom you occasionally have fondness for, she left a comment on TikTok, to comment on a clip where we were discussing about how quickly you are able to complete the act of coitus with your wife. And she said that she would like a trigger warning before we start discussing your sexual relations.
First of all, there will never be a trigger warning. We want you to be just as surprised as we are with the stuff that comes out of our mouth.
This is not a political podcast.
That's what she said.
But much like the guy walking into the Plasma Donation Center with the words, "I love sucking dick with my butt cheeks," applied to his t-shirt.
There weren't all words. You said one was a heart.
One was the shape of a heart, so even children could understand better because it had pictures.
Not like a biological heart.
No, not an anatomically correct heart. A heart like Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, which is a scam, by the way. I don't need one day out of the year for you to tell me how to love my significant other.
What I'm getting at is I think that my friend Joe Seppi should be able to discuss freely and openly how bad he is at sex, just like I think that that one fella in Hayden, Idaho should be allowed to walk around wherever he pleases with the words butt cheeks affixed to his person. Because I'm an American. This is not a political statement. This is about freedom. Next, I want to talk about. Do you have a thing we're talking about now, or?
I was just going to go to the mailbag.
We have a segment called the mailbag. Our bag is not as full as it should be because not enough of you have been finger fiddling the subscribe button. But we'll give it a shot. We're going to have continuity problems when people pick on the fact that this Nutrigain bar has decreased in volume and size since the last clip they saw.
That's what happens when you get older, though. Everything decreases in volume and size. It's nature. You can't fight it. You can be mad at it. But what it all boils down to is you can't run from it. Father Time is undefeated.
That was profound.
It wasn't profound. I don't know what profound means.
Well, that's because you're getting older. Your vocabulary is shrinking and there's nothing you can do to help it.
The decreased space in my frontal lobe is not the issue here.
I think you have a few lobes that are a problem.
Is that because, like, when I was a child and my big sister was responsible for my well-being, she accidentally one time slammed my head into a banister?
No, I think that's why you're bad at sports.
I would like to remind you, once again, that I am a member at a golf simulator. Do you think they just let any Tom, Dick, and Harry into those clubs?
I don't know. I've only been in there once and you guys gaslit me into breaking things. I'm not an athlete.
You're a soy boy. We've been over this.
I am an edamame enthusiast.
And you're also alternately assembled.
I am differently abled.
Do you get your own parking spot for that, or?
Yeah, at your mom's house. Which is paid for and not in threat of foreclosure.
You have something in your miniature grain morsel?
Thank you. Broke the old fourth wall there.
That's how Leah got pregnant.
I'm kind of mad at Leah right now.
Why?
Because she's funnier than both of us, especially when it comes to making jokes to Joyce at Texas Roadhouse and embarrassing the shit out of me. We can talk about that after the mailbag.
I want to talk about it now.
We went to Texas Roadhouse because we support local businesses and hate chain franchises.
Mom and pop.
There's a mom and pop joint on US 95, and it is called Texas Roadhouse. Very obscure hipster place. You'll never find it on the internet. Joe and I took turns slathering our entire bodies with cinnamon butter. That's exclusively on the Patreon episode. This would be a great time to insert our grinder joke, but we're trying to retire that because we feel like it might be genuinely confusing. For some of you that have the YouTube app and also the Grindr app, we want to funnel you to the correct one. When we got there to Texas Roadhouse.
A small establishment that nobody knows about.
Yeah, mom and pop place there.
Which, if any of you guys have a problem about a Texas Roadhouse being in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Idaho and Texas are similarly shaped. And we're only 1,804 miles away from Texas, so.
Roughly speaking. And also, we're in the panhandle.
Texas has a panhandle.
I live in the panhandle of Idaho.
I grabbed a pan by the handle this morning to make fajita mix.
Texas Roadhouse consuming prime rib while listening to honky-tonk country blended music and drinking a Samuel Adams lager is real panhandle behavior. This is not a political podcast, but I ordered my prime rib a medium. Were you going to talk about the Texas Road? I would like to hear about the Texas Roadhouse experience from your perspective because mine was...
We got to the Texas Roadhouse. We had an hour-ish wait. I had my window rolled down. I noticed a truck and trailer drive through the parking lot, making an unusual noise. When I looked...
What kind of trailer was it? Was it like a stock trailer or like a landscape trailer or something?
Yeah, it was like a utility trailer, we put lawnmowers and stuff in, yeah.
It was like 2 axles or something?
It was 3.
Oh, damn.
The problem with the 3 axles is they should have tires on each axle. Well, this one did not. The front axle was bereft of a tire.
Dude, your vocabulary is so good.
Is it back?
Yeah, oh yeah,
more back. So I noticed the sound first because I have good hearing. My eyesight is completely jacked, but my hearing is elite.
I don't know if you should say that too loud. The Department of Defense might be watching. Don't you want the money from the earplugs?
What?
Yeah. Notice how he didn't hear me, and I'm whispering mere inches away. I think that's at least 20% more disabled if you're asking my impartial opinion.
Thank you. We're up to 69% disabled now.
Nice.
After that truck and trailer drove through the parking lot, a gentleman who was parked at the Dollar Tree sashayed on over from his car to mine when he noticed my window open as he had a cellular phone to his ear, and he said to me the following: "Did you happen to see a tire roll by here?"
Did you know you're in for a good night when you're parked next to a Texas Roadhouse and a Dollar Tree simultaneously, and some guy comes up to you with his Samsung Galaxy and says, "Have you seen a tire?" That's a good night, dude.
And when I told him I did not see a tire, but I saw a trailer that could have used one, he looked at me and he said, "Well, it just came off and I want to find it and return it to him." And when he said those words, I looked off into the distance and I noticed that truck and trailer exiting through the far side of the parking lot, at which point I was like, "I don't think you're fast enough." And then, whilst we were walking into the restaurant, when we got the text message saying, "You are on deck," we walked right by a tire.
Damn near fell over it, actually. Almost tripped right over the thing.
Damn near started doing Oklahoma drills out there. I almost started a football team with that tire.
Yeah, I almost enlisted in that tire.
And I picked that tire up, and you know what I did with that tire?
Just flung it off to the side like a flatbedder, dude.
That story sucked.
No, it was a good story.
And then we got to the cinnamon butter, and that's where your body was all slathered with it. And I don't remember when Leah was funny.
It pisses me off how funny she is. Like, she's like a sleeper, man. Joe and I will go into almost every interaction planning and plotting how we're going to be the funniest person there, which is usually easy to do.
Because of the panhandle.
On account of the trauma that we've experienced in life.
Cesarean for you.
He was sad in the sand.
You were sad in the uterus.
I had to learn shit in Hebrew a bunch. We all have our problems, you know?
Shema
Israel.
See, I've learned some of that too.
I don't think we're supposed to talk about that. I think it's pretty blasphemous to be talking about Texas Roadhouse and the Shema in the same sentence. So I want to be tread lightly.
Is the Shema a place?
No, it's incantation.
What does that mean?
It means shut the fuck up and let me talk about Texas.
Do you know when you
Roadhouse.
salute, because you're a veteran, you have to cant your hand slightly downward?
How is a civilian supposed to salute you for your service?
You just friggin' don't salute me and give me my free pancakes that I hop on.
My heart goes out to you. This is not a political podcast. Anyways, we got inside. It's just me, Joe, and Leah. I would have brought my wife, the redhead, who I have previously stated that I love, but she abandoned me because she wanted to frolic in the Disneyland fields with mythical characters with our children. Like a loser. I wanted to cover her body in cinnamon butter and show her a night that she will never forget. But she wanted to be in Disneyland. Mm-hmm. We get into the Texas Roadhouse. We take our seats. We're introduced to Joyce, who's going to be our waitress.
Server, don't call them waitresses.
We were introduced to Joyce, who is going to be some lady that we expected to perform domestic duties for us. Is that better?
Yes.
This is not a political podcast, but Joyce was a nice gal. They, them, zer. So we're sitting there, and I make an order. I asked her if I could have some prime rib. She said that I could.
That was very nice of her.
It was. Very progressive, egalitarian thing of our server or servess to do. Allow me to order off of the menu. So,
Or woman, you.
Joyce says, how do you want that cooked or whatever? I said medium. She's like, do you want horseradish? I said, yeah. She said, do you want the creamy horseradish or original? And I said, I would like the creamy horseradish. And then Leah out of nowhere says, I heard he likes it really creamy.
You can't take her or her eyebrows out in public anymore. It's ridiculous.
And I just sitting there super uncomfortable. And when I had almost recovered from that, then you started giving me the Arby's treatment.
This is my favorite thing to do when myself and this man or boy, soy, are in the same place, like at a restaurant particularly. And I just like to say things like, he is super famous on the internet. And when I do that, like the color of his face now can be best described as pale and pasty with a little bit of jaundice maybe. When I say those words, it is a 5-alarm fire red.
Dude, I'm the kind of fella that carries around like tripods and films myself doing stuff all over the country. Like I normally have a very poor sense of shame. Like I will like clear my bowels underneath bridges, make videos about it and stuff. But as soon as this guy...
Patreon. You find that on Patreon?
Yeah, you find that on our Patreon account. But this guy, as soon as he says like, oh, he's like a big deal on the internet, I'll just turn red and just want to die, dude.
And sweat a lot.
And I'll start sweating. I feel like I'm in an interrogation. And Joyce is just like, oh, really? That's it? Just like, shut up, leave. Just leave now. But when you return, please make sure you have more rolls. We're going to eat 17 more of those, by the way. Thank you.
When she asked us what we would like to drink, I said I would like a Coke Zero. Leah said I would like a water. Jesse said I would like melted cinnamon butter in a pint.
Intravenously. I have my concerns about capitalism, but I think that Texas Roadhouse is the peak, the zenith of what we've achieved with capitalism. Just a casual eating restaurant that blares country music and will force feed you cinnamon butter like you're a duck about to be turned into foie gras.
I think we just introduced ourselves to a whole new audience in France.
A bonjour.
Sous vide.
Speaking of bones and jurs, Joseph, I have a bone to pick with you. For those of you watching at home, this is a bovine femur.
I think that probably applies even if they're watching from door 43 at Nestle plant. When you get loaded, staring at a solid red light.
If you want more information about why I'd be holding a bovine femur, please go back to episode 2. Thank you. But I want to say something that kind of pissed me off because
I think you should be forced to hold that bone the entire time that you're picking the bone with me.
I am bone grieved. Joseph, last week I got some shit talked to me after our world famous chart-topping podcast called The Tallgrass had been released to all of the platforms which we release it, which is one, by the way, it's youtube.com. Many millions of people watched it in its entirety. We made enough money off of that episode to retire our families as well as the families of all the viewers.
Which makes sense because yours abandoned you immediately after receiving all that money.
Correct. I have no family. They just immediately went to Disneyland and they're like, ooh, Indiana Jones. That's a different bone to pick with a different person. But the bone I'm picking with you right now is last week, since our podcast is so universally popular and accumulates millions of views.
Across the universe.
One of the comments that we received said, a nasty thing to me about parking going the wrong direction on your street because you filmed me showing up to your sprawling suburban mansion to film this podcast. And I had parked on the wrong side of the street because I was on that one street and I just immediately turned left onto the street that you live. I remembered that. I remembered it because they pointed it out and I saw the video, and the vehicle that you operate and the ones that your family members who also inhabit this home operate were all parked the correct direction. So I said, I ain't gonna do that again. So today, when I was on that one street, I turned left before it's time to turn left on your street and looped around some other streets. I went 3/4 of the way around a block, y'all. I don't know if you know how blocks work, but so that I could be faced the correct direction, at which point I pulled behind your fucked up vehicle that was pointed the wrong way. So the bone that I'm picking with you is get your shit together.
That was a well-picked bone, but I regret to inform you that
there's a lot of bone dust from the picking on the table there.
Yeah, we'll snort that later. The best part about being an American, maybe that gentleman or gentlewoman was not from this country, Jesse. And they don't know that we have this thing called freedom. Sidebar?
We don't, yeah.
There's no such thing as freedom in this country.
I know, because that guy that I was talking about with the shirt that said, I love suck with my butt cheeks, he got in trouble.
Dude, I'm so sick of pretending that we live, like, we can do whatever we want. No, as long as you, like, pay taxes and freaking the applicable fees and subscribe, monthly dues. If you live in the wrong neighborhood and try to park your car anywhere, they will leave you a notice that says you have 30 days to not do that anymore, or we will kill you. In conclusion,
I would move, but I love Texas Roadhouse so much. Have some mailbag stuff?
We have a mailbag. Joey985 on YouTube says, can you talk about where you guys were at a Love's and Joe knocked at a door and thought it was Jesse? First of all, Joey.
Okay. All right.
Hang on. I have the bone.
Okay. You pick that bone with Joey.
I don't have a bone to pick with Joey.
Oh, okay.
But Joey, I appreciate the callback. It's one of my favorite memories. However, it was not at a Love's. It was at a Flying J in Mandan, North Dakota.
Find me a Love's in Mandan. There probably is one by now, and a Dollar General.
Well, he wants you to talk about it now that you have your voice back.
Sometimes, when you're in Mandan.
Which, by the way, if you try to call it Mandan, which any normal red-blooded, free-birthing American would,
No.
You will get destroyed in the
You
comment
will
section.
get destroyed, dude. They will arrest you. If you're at the Flying J / independent truck stop / whatever the heck it is, what was the exit number? It's in North Dakota, Interstate 94, get wrecked. It's further east than the Super Pumper. It's where I was fraudulently accused of over-purchasing Zyn packets, but we don't need to get into that story right now. Sometimes a couple of fellows will just be trucking across the United States of America in separate rigs, and they'll want to pull into Mandan and wash their bodies. Preferably in an enclosed room that contains a shower, a toilet, a sink, and the biological remnants of 738 other truckers since it's last been washed. This is just a pro tip for you truckers, and I've been saying this for a long time. If you go into a truck stop shower and you want to determine if it is clean to the standards that you should accept as a fellow traveler of the road, what you simply need to do is inspect the corners of the room. And if in one of those corners you find a small clump of pubic hair and nail clippings, you know that room is clean. They swept those all into the corner. That's good for you. If you are walking barefooted between the toilet and the shower, for instance, and you feel a sharp little thing sticking up into your foot and you go down to look at it, and it's a stray yellowed nail clipping, you should be aggrieved. So anyways, we were in one of those rooms, me and Joe together, because here's the thing about me and Joe. Maybe from time to time, we want to conserve water. Plus, when we were in Mandan, that place geographically, societally, based on the general demeanor of people around us, it seemed dry as fuck. So we didn't want to exacerbate the demands of their water table. So we decided maybe we should share a shower. None of that's really true. What happened was we wanted to make a cool video where we were pretending to shower together. So we did this video skit in the shower room. If you go back through the annuals of TikTok, you may find it. I don't know. We then separated and went to separate shower rooms. And when he had finished showering, which was long before me, because his butthole and or hair is less time consuming to clean than mine apparently, he knocked on a door thinking it was me, but it wasn't. Some other grizzled highway veteran opened the door and was like, "Come on in here, big boy."
So when I knocked on the door thinking that Jesse was in that bathroom, that shower, and when the door opened and it was someone who did not fit Jesse's description in the slightest, while I had my phone in the air recording, I did not know what to do with my body.
Did you knock and then say something like, "Are you almost done in there, baby?" or something like that?
I said, "Are you almost done yet, Fabio?" And to this guy's credit, he played it off like a champ. He was a big old smile on his face, didn't know why I was holding the phone in the air, selfie style with the video rolling, but he was down for whatever, which then alarmed me right back. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what you're into, but it's not going to be me.
Then we hired him to hold the camera while we filmed our Patreon shower episode.
Thank you. We still need to pay him though.
Yeah, we do. We didn't get as many views as we would have hoped, because even though I was incredibly fat and funny during that time, it's not exactly conducive to high Patreon views. Important updates. When I was fatter, I was funnier. Now I am skinnier and I sound like this.
Jesse has this funny thing he does when I call him after he goes through an episode where he doesn't have his voice for 3 days. And I go, "Is your voice still fucked?" And he goes, "I sound like this."
Not that I lose my voice from random illnesses very often.
No, only at least 3 or 4 times a semester. Our good friend Jason Longtoe, which...
What a fucked up name.
That last name has got to go, Jason. We are both so sick of looking at it and then having to say it a completely different way from what it sounds or looks.
I do like Jason.
I love Jason.
But his name is fucked up, dude.
Dude, I love his goatee. Goatees are out. But Jason Longtoe, this is how you spell his name, by the way. He says...
Yeah, pronounce that one time.
Yeah, that's not even real. "Since we're doing flashbacks, can we talk about how I left you in Ogden to fix your trainee's mess in the rain, then hail, then snow? Good times. For me."
Can we just have an entire 45-minute episode uploaded separately that discusses that particular trainee?
No, we can have maybe the next 3 minutes.
I trained a guy. I feel like it's been long enough. We don't work there anymore. I can say shit, right?
You can say I mean, is there a cease and desist order out yet?
I don't know. I did have to go to court about this, but
Dude, you wrote so many things down on paper.
dude, there was this guy I trained, and I'm not going to tell you his first name, but his last name was Gay.
Literally.
Gay, Mr. Gay.
Yeah. He talked like this. He called he called rest areas roadside parks. Jesse, I tell you what, Jesse. One time, we sort of listened in unbeknownst to Mr. Gay. And when I heard him talking like that, and every time he started a sentence, he would say Jesse's name, and it made me laugh maniacally. Your ball. Go ahead.
One of Mr. Gay's best lines was when he said, if I say the line, will you say it again in his voice?
Yeah.
I can't lift my arm past my titty.
Jesse, I can't lift my arm past my titty.
Mr. Gay was fine.
Totally fine.
Totally fine fella.
Directionally challenged.
But like everything was fine with Mr. Gay except for one particular issue that became frustrating, which was that at any moment in time, he was completely unaware of two things: where we were or where we were going. Like, there was no point in time during the weeks that I spent with him that he ever was able to articulate to me where we were and or where we were going. And usually that was an or. Like, he just existed in one specific place and time and had no recollection as soon as we moved to the next. Not super conducive to navigating these United States in a Class 8 commercial motor vehicle, but we had a good time together. One day, we were in Salt Lake. We were in Utah. We weren't even to Salt Lake yet. We're cruising south on, okay, I gotta shorten up this story because he said we can't do a whole episode on it. There's this problem with the load we were hauling. It had shifted. There's a lot of hilarious reasons about why this is funny, but we're not gonna get into those. Just know that the load had shifted. We parked at this truck stop in Ogden. And a couple, maybe an hour or so after we got there, our buddy Jason Lonto showed up. I think he bought me a Taco Bell. I think he bought me a Crunchwrap Supreme.
God, that was back when you were funny.
Oh, and I was fat too. That's why I was able to eat the Crunchwrap Supreme after I'd already probably been in there eating other things like hot Cheetos and stuff. But anyways, me and Mr. Gay set about the task of fixing our shifted load, which meant that we had to like hand unstack a bunch of product, take it completely off the truck, restack it. We were there for several hours doing this. And Jason was standing there being like, man, it really sucks. I would hate it if that happened to me. And then like we'd be passing, me and Mr. Gay would be like passing product back and forth to each other. And Jason would like get close enough to almost be engaged in the process, but just far enough away to where we couldn't hand him something to hand to somebody else. So he's good at supervising. And it's something I would expect from a piece of garbage van driver. Mm-hmm. But also when we left there, Jason had left, but then when me and Mr. Gay went to leave, he was driving because I was supposed to be teaching him how to be a professional truck driver. Mm-hmm. I said, Mr. Gay, I didn't say that, I said a different thing. When you pull out of this parking lot, you're gonna take a left turn. And then at the intersection, at the light, you're gonna take another left turn. From which point, you are going to get onto Interstate 15 southbound. Those are your directions. And he finger fiddled all the controls of the semi-truck and he made the first left turn onto the road. And then he made the second left turn onto the other road. And then he fucked right off with I-15 south, went under the overpass and turned left onto the on-ramp that was known as I-15 northbound. This was in the evening, probably last 2 hours of daylight. And he's hauling up the northbound side, merging onto the interstate. And we passed, I think, 2 exits before. I was like, he's going to surely turn around and go southbound as we're going to Texas. And from this point, there's only one way we should be going on Interstate 15, and that's southbound. But we kept going north for several miles. And finally, I looked over at this guy and I said, hey, where are we going? And he said, we're going I-15 south, just like you told me. And I said, I don't know if that's true. And he says, it is true. I'm going south, I-15, just like you told me. And because I'm good at conflict resolution, I looked at this guy. Hey, why don't you take a gander out your window there next to you and tell me what you see? Is that the sun setting? That's an example of west, Mr. Gay. Which means, if you remember Boy Scouts as well as I don't, you should know that that means we're going north. And he says, nope, I got on I-15 south just like you told me. And I was like, whatever. And then finally I was like, no, okay, seriously, we actually have to turn around because we're trying to go to Texas. And you're trying to take us to like Yellowstone now, so we need to relax.
Dude, I would have rather gone to Yellowstone. Maybe he was onto something.
He was onto something. But then he also threatened to fight me. When we got to Texas, he says, I can take you.
Just not south.
And I was like, he's the kind of guy, though, that if you arranged a fight with him, he would never be able to get there. Mr. Gay, if you are watching, please subscribe to The Tall Grass, which is a podcast, and let me know how your trucking career has gone since I accidentally kicked you off the truck somewhere in the Lone Star State.
Also, the lawsuit.
I don't have time to get into the lawsuit, but let's just say I enjoyed reading my diary notes aloud in the court of law to Mr. Gay and his legal counsel. Also, if you're a representative of a company that I may or may not have used to work for, please do not subscribe to this podcast. Thank you. Jason, in conclusion, thank you for the Taco Bell and not helping me, you lazy sack of shit.
I think he's a supervisor now, so.
That makes sense.
He was
dude.
just getting.
I gave you some of your best supervisory experience. Use me as a reference, please.
I believe that is going to be the conclusion of this episode, number 3 of. That's where you say the tall grass.
The Tall Grass,
Which is
a podcast. He did the grass. Do you see how this blade is in front of the other one? That's called layering.
He did the S's.
The Tall Grass. The podcast. Tell your mom. Thank you.
If you're watching this and you are not subscribed, please pay attention to the following.
I want you to look at the subscribe button like it is a work acquaintance that you have passed in the hallway, and I want you to give a gentle nod. Was that non-sexual enough, Janice? I want you to take the subscribe button and I want you to ignore it completely and act as though you do not live in the same social structure as them. And then I want you to figure out a way to demean them so that they feel like they are less than you. That's a bad metaphor because it doesn't end up with us having another subscription to the Tall Grass podcast. I really want to go back to sexual innuendos because I feel like those do the best job of understanding what it is that I physically want them to do to and with the subscribe button. I want you to look at that subscribe button for a prolonged period of time until the subscribe button becomes uncomfortable. And then I want you to remove yourself from their line of vision and then reappear in their periphery so that they become startled. And then at the last minute, I want you to grab the subscribe button from behind and say, "Guess who?" in an uncomfortably sultry voice. Do you get the idea? I want you to take the subscribe button and ask it if it would be interested in a platonic date that includes coffee and or croissants. And then when the subscribe button says, I'm not really interested because I have a significant other. I want you to yell at it and belittle it for being rude, and that this is why you're never going to be nice to members of their particular sex ever again. Do you get the picture? Take the subscribe button and just press it. Why don't I just say that to begin with? I mean, that's what I really want them to do. Just press subscribe. If you're on a computer, finger fiddle the mouse thing. If you're on your television, grow up and go to your phone and do it with your thumb. Just subscribe to the world's #1 podcast named after grasses. I cannot legally back up that claim, but subscribe anyways.
Also try to sue us, see what happens.
Guys, this episode feels like it might have been chaos, and we said this last time, but we meant it and we mean it again now. If you want this podcast to be better, then you need to tell us what the hell to do. Join us next week for a better produced podcast.
That was not legally binding. This is a podcast.
I got a bone to pick with you.
I have a fajita seasoning to snort with you. If you don't believe him, subscribe so I can get forehead shrinking surgery.
I'm going to get lip filler. Thanks.
It's going to be really funny when your lips are giant and you still can't talk.
It's going to be hilarious when everyone's like, "Yeah, it's the most robotic lip filler I've ever seen, soy boy."
That's not feminine at all.